What's good, everybody? Welcome back to the Cloud Slayer channel. Hope you guys are doing well today. I'm going to be back with UFC 292 predictions. It's been a while since I've done any kind of prediction because I know a lot of people don't really, people that watch this channel, they don't really care for the UFC as much, but I like the UFC stuff and I like fighting stuff. So I'm going to give it a go here. So here we go. This is going to be the fight card of Sean O'Malley versus frickin' Aljamain Sterling. It's going to be a great one. I'm a fan of both people, but I mean, Sean O'Malley made me eat my words last time, so I cannot doubt my guy. And, you know, we're going to go into that later here. So the first fight's going to be Correia Silva versus Marina Moros. Tell me if I said that wrong, anybody, please. It's going to be the Brazilian versus the Ukrainian. Let's check out the records here real quick. They're pretty close together. Correia has 5 more wins, but really that doesn't mean nothing. She's coming off a win. That means something. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. Marina could be craving for a win here. You never know until they get into the ring, you know. So I'm gonna go with the Brazilian though, just because she's coming off of a win, and that's pretty much all it is. Shorter fighter, and usually they're a little bit better grapplers, right? So how'd you win last time? It just says last fight. It doesn't give a specific, but it looks like she typically is a striker. She gets some submissions, but it looks like Marina goes the distance. Her average fight time is longer. It might be grueling for her too. So if she's able to drag her on, weather the storm, and take her to the distance, it looks like she might have the advantage at winning. But you never know. In a fight, it may go some crazy way, get knocked out, get submitted. She might knock her out, might submit her, you know. So that's the crappy thing about predictions, is you never really know, but you just make them anyways, right? So I got Correia Silva. I think I'm going to go with, she's going to win in the second round, probably TKO. And then we got Andrea Lee versus Natalie Silva. They're almost identical. A couple more losses, you know, 2 less wins, 2 more losses. Then she has 1 more. They virtually have the same amount of fights, right? So we got the U.S. born versus the Brazilian, and Brazilians coming off a win. We got the American coming off from a loss. So let's see what they win by. There's KOs. She has the slight 10% advantage, almost in both submission and TKOs, with the American having the advantage in the decision. So Brazilian seems to have a little bit less of a average fight time, knockdown advantage, almost a full 1 point over the American. So I think the American can pull it through, but I think the Brazilian has the advantage in this one, and I'm going to go with Natalie Silva on this over Andrea Lee. So again, you know, she can always pull it off. We got Andre Petrosky, the American, versus Gerald Meerschaert. I probably didn't say that right. Meerschaert. I don't know how to pronounce that too well. My bad, guys. I know I butcher stuff all the time, but it is what it is. 185 pounders here. Middleweights. He's 9-2 for Andre, and Gerald is 35-16. Gerald's coming off of a loss. Andre is coming off a win. Let's see here. Most of Gerald seems to be more dangerous as a submission artist, especially with how many fights he has. They virtually don't go to decision, so I think this one might end. Hey, you never know. This might Andre might go to decision. You never know. He has a longer average fight time, which is kind of weird for having less fights, but so he's got to watch out for this guy. He submits people probably the second round, third round, it looks like, about the 8-minute mark. So every round is 3 minutes, 3, 6, 9. So about third round, he'll probably get you gassed out and act like a bull constrictor and just choke you out. So I think I'm gonna go with Gerald in this one. mainly because of the more fights, but that doesn't always mean anything. He can always get caught slipping or something like that. But I'm going to predict that he wins. I mean, he just lost his last one, but I think he's going to win this one with the submission. You never know, though. You just go off your gut feeling sometimes. You ain't always right? So I was wrong. I'm wrong a lot of the time. So I'm no expert. I just been watching this stuff for a long time, right? Which means nothing. So Austin Hubbard versus Kurt Holobaugh. Both United States citizens, both coming off of losses. We got Austin with 13-6 record. We got Kurt with a 17-7 record. They're virtually the same everywhere else. Maybe just an inch that separates the two men. So looks like Austin goes the distance a lot more. Kurt has the slight disadvantage at KO, almost 10%, but he has a way higher submission rate than Austin does. So I'm going to guess he's going to try to take Austin down as well, but you never know. If he stands with this guy and he feels he's vulnerable, he can crack him on. He can crack off on him too. These points don't always mean everything, and they don't fight the same people. So you never know what they're capable of. And, you can always be surprised. But I think, let's go into significant strikes here. Going to grappling. He's a better takedown guy too. So he's probably better on his back or something. Throwing submission moves like that. I usually go with the more seasoned fighter. But, man. I think he's probably might be considered the underdog in this fight. So I'm going to go with Austin Hubbard just because I like an underdog every once in a while, So he might have disadvantages in the stat lines, but that doesn't really mean nothing until you get into the fight and you figure out how the fight's going to go and how you ride that roller coaster, right? So good luck to both men. Good luck to everybody in this fight card. So we got Gregory Rodriguez versus Dennis Tululin. The Russian versus the Brazilian. Gregory is 13-5 as a professional fighter. Dennis is 11-7, so he's closer to being 0.5, right? 6'3 versus 6'1, both coming off losses. We're gonna check out. Oh, they got a high KO rate. I think they're gonna just duke it out. I think so. I don't know. This is gonna be a tough one. This is probably gonna be a 30-second knockout or something going either way, but he looks more built, but that doesn't mean nothing when you get hit in the chin and it's lights out. There ain't nothing. None of that muscle mass means anything. So the Russian has a lower win percentage. He has less wins total, more losses. But if it's going to be drawn out, I do like Russians. In some drawn out fights, they are some tough people. Sometimes you just got to say fuck records. But I did see Gregory Rodriguez fight, and he has some pretty decent kicks. I didn't see the loss, though. I seen one of his W's a few fights ago. And I think I'm going to go with Gregory Rodriguez because he actually, if he doesn't gas out right away and get beat up, I think he can take him. So I'm going to go with Gregory Rodriguez. And now we're going to go up to some more middleweights. Somebody that I'm more familiar with, one of the first people to beat Anderson Silva, or a prime Anderson Silva at the time. But, had some bad luck since. He has some wins. He has a lot more losses. But, that's the way it goes. That's the way life goes. So it's Chris Weidman versus Brad Tavares. They are both United States citizens, virtually the same except for the 4-inch reach advantage by Chris Weidman. He also just has 1 inch advantage. So he's 15-6 versus Brad, 19-9. Win percentages, decision, it seems to go in Brad's favor. So as Weidman can close out on it beforehand, he does have slight advantages in the subbing, stuff like that. They're virtually the same in land per minute. He's at a slightly higher rate than Chris Weidman. And significant strikes, they're pretty darn dead even, absorbed per minute. So he takes a little bit more defense. He had some grappling, average takedown. Chris Weidman, known to take people down. That wrestling, it tires you out. So if he can get this guy tired, tap him out, beat the crap out of him, and don't allow it to go to decision, maybe, who knows, or go to decision because he could just beat him this time, right? I'm going to go with Chris Weidman. Regardless of records, even if he was facing somebody 12-0, I'm going to go with Chris Weidman. I love him as a fighter. Not like I love this guy, but he's one of my favorite fighters. Regardless of how his stats are going for him, big fan of Chris Weidman, and it might just be some bias. Oh, then we got Marlon Chito Vera versus Pedro Munoz. Both great fighters. Marlon Vera debatably beat up Sean O'Malley, so I don't know. Pedro Munoz is a motherfucker too, so he's a good guy. He's 20-7. Marlon Vera is 20-8. Virtually identical, has one decision or no contest, I'm guessing. Marlon's coming off a loss. Pedro Munoz is coming off of a W, and these guys might be the next this might be for a title shot or something, where they both ranked 6 and 10. So Pedro Munoz looking to move up. Marlon Vera, even though coming off of a loss, is still at number 6, but hey man, he might it's hard to get past that number 10 for some of these fighters. A lot of fighters, I've never even made it to the top 100, so who knows? And I'm a fat boy, so I'm twice their size, right? So I think I'm gonna go with Marlon Vera because I don't know. He put the works to Sean O'Malley. It doesn't matter what anybody says. He won that, even though hurt his leg, hurt that. What is that? That nerve in his shin or his leg or whatever. So I got Marlon Vera here. Obviously, Pedro Munoz can win too. He can crack. He's a good fighter. So they got high, significant strikes landed per minute and at a high percentage. They got pretty low takedown average. That doesn't mean they can't take each other down. Really good takedown defense from Pedro Munoz. So Marlon Vera is probably going to have his hands full anyways. Next on to another bantamweight weight bout, and it's not even ranked. You would think this one would be over that one, but it is what it is. Maybe it's for the main card, but we got Cody Garbrandt versus Mario Bautista, both United States born. Cody Garbrandt is not. It won't let me check out the stats or anything. So, but anyways, I think Cody Garbrandt is the underdog, but we all know what he's capable of. He's been there for a while now in the UFC. Mario Bautista, I don't know as much about him. I have seen a fight or two, but I do like Cody Garbrandt, so I think I'm gonna go with Cody on this one. We got Neil Magny versus Ian Machado, my bad. Irish born versus the United States man. Neil Magny is 28-11. Ian is a perfect 12-0. So if he's still riding his hype train, I think he's got the advantage right now psychologically. But Neil Magny did win. I've heard Neil Magny's been in there for a while. Always a tough guy, so he can win. Ian could win, but Neil Magny has twice as many fights. He has almost as many losses as he has victories, and sometimes that does matter, and sometimes that's what separates the men from the boys. But I'm gonna choose Ian just because he's a younger person, newer blood. I mean, obviously, it means nothing. We know some people that fight into old age, like Randy Couture or more recent guy that just retired. I can't even think of his name right now. I'm tired, getting old. So I'm gonna go with Ian Gary. He was just a champion in late heavyweight. Just lost too, didn't he? He lost. It wasn't to Aljamain Sterling. Can't remember his name right now. Getting old, guys. I'm sorry. We got Zhang Wei Li. Who I always like watching Zhang Wei Li fight, even though she's Rose Namajunas has her number, and Zhang Weili came in, beat the girl that beat Rose when Rose just played chicken, you know, like debatably one of the worst fights in UFC history, right? Especially for like the women's division. And, you know, I was a big fan of Rose, still am, but that fight, like, it kind of stunk. But, you know, that was their choice to fight like that, and ultimately it cost her championship. But I love Zhang Weili, super big fan, and she's going to have a tough fight against the Brazilian. Let's check out some win buys. KOs. Oh, she's went 62%. Zhang Weili has a slight advantage in the submissions. They both go about the same with decision. Zhang Weili is used to having a little bit longer fight time, and Amanda Lemos has a higher knockdown advantage. So she puts people on their butts. We know Zhang Weili can knock people out, but not at a higher rate, I suppose. So grappling, almost even. Takedown advantage goes to Zhang Weili. Takedown accuracy goes to Amanda Lemos. So she does less of them, but she's more effective at them. We got some takedown defense. Amanda Lemos also has a high takedown advantage. Zhang Weili, hers is a little bit lower. So she's got to watch out for being on her back if she does get the advantage at standing up and stuff like that. So then we got landed per minute, high rates. Zhang Weili's at a higher rate, but significant strikes are higher for Amanda Lemos. So we got absorbed per time, almost identical. We got defense here. Whoa, they're pretty darn close. I think this is going to be a tough fight. But I'm biased. I'm going to go for the Chinese-born Zhang Weili. China-born, not Chinese-born, my bad. This might sound racist, but China, the woman from China. I got Zhang Weili on this one. Say what you will, but I respect her a lot as a fighter, so. We got Aljamain Sterling versus Sean O'Malley. Let's go, guys. I'm going to go Sean O'Malley right off the bat just because he made me eat my words. And I said I would never doubt this man again. Win, lose, or draw, I'm going for Sean O'Malley. I don't give a fudge sticks. All right, guys. So Aljo has a way less KO, but we know he'll take you on the ground, beat the crap out of you, and stuff like that. So decisions only 52%. Landed per minute goes to Sean O'Malley. Significant strikes, again, Sean O'Malley, but only by 8%. His landed per minute is way higher. What is 7.43 compared to 4.78? That's quite a bit. And absorb per minute, but it'll go down for this fight because Aljo likes to get in close and grapple with everybody, right? So, I mean, he could stand up with him and crack too. Who knows how his camp's going, and who knows how he's feeling that day. He might be feeling the stand-up game and give Sean O'Malley, a run for his money in the stand-up. But Sean O'Malley he has great stand-up, man. He's one of the best stand-ups I've ever seen. He's a freaking master. So I think Sean O'Malley's going to go out there and he's going to come out victorious, become the champion of the world. And the new champion of the world, Sean O'Malley. Yeah, buddy. Almost Sean. I'm sorry, somebody called me out on that before, but yeah. I got Sean anyways, Sean O'Malley. I keep saying Shane because I'm illiterate, so I got Sean. Sean is gonna win it. Sean O'Malley. I keep telling myself I'm not gonna say Shane, but I keep saying Sean anyway. So, anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this. If not, then you know what I mean. It is what it is, Jelly Bean. You guys probably won't even click on this video. So I hope you guys have a great one. And if you did click on this, thanks for coming back. And if you're new, please consider hitting that like and subscribe button, especially if you like the content. I'll try to mix in probably some UFC predictions and some of my rambles just to spice it up a little bit instead of just doing this separately. Maybe I'll just do the main card or just maybe the top 2-3 fights or something like that instead of going through the whole list. Is what it is. I hope you guys have a great one. Peace.